back with the worst man in politics and social democrats. We have, of course, Gary Gannon. This one is a video that he's talking about the far right causing a huge concern as counter-terror detectives dedicating to probe violent political extremism. Okay, which I haven't seen any political extremism from anyone on the right or conservative movement. Matter of fact, Interpol has said that 90% of attacks are from left, liberal, like really woke people, crazy, you know, that kind of ideology, LGB, all this kind of stuff. Social Democrats TD questioned the senior Gardaí about the threat of far-right violence and the Gardaí response to it. You know, he doesn't want any sort of opposition on his ideas. And this is what the communists do, guys. They try and shut down anyone that has any questions or try and actually, you know, understand what they're trying to say, because that's how communism and Marxism works, okay? It shuts down your ideas, and capitalism and the populist movement will win. These globalists are not going to win. Let's hear exactly what happens here, because this is an 8-minute long video. I can barely understand what Gary Gannon says half the time, lads. I don't know, does anybody else have that problem? I don't understand a word that lad says, but let's hear what he says.
Commissioner, I was grateful that your statement arrived on Saturday. I felt it was early, gave us a lot of time to prepare for today, but going through the 6 pages of it, I couldn't help but feel that there was a lot that was missing. I mean, there was no reference to far-right mobilisation, organised intimidation. There was no reference to drugs gangs who are making parts of this city unpoliceable. My questions are going to frame around those areas, so I'll just start with, why was there a omission? Where was there no reference to the far-right intimidation, which has happened outside libraries, it's happening outside buildings where children are living?
Wait a second, he sounds like a scared little bitch. He said that far-right intimidation is happening outside libraries because they're trying to get rid of these sick books that push pedophilia and weird woke agendas on kids. Like, everybody knows this. The right wing, or the right, whatever you want to call it, only have a 2% terrorism arrests. The amount of arrests, it's like 80% for like the woke, you know, the climate, where they put their hands on the road and they're like breaking into Shannon to flip and stop the US Army from traveling over to the Middle East. Like, the left wing have an 80% arrest rate in Interpol in the whole of Europe. So they're way more dangerous than any sort of big bad far right. And there is no far right in Ireland. There is none. This is zero. What political party has any power in Ireland that's a far right?
It's happening outside our parliament here. Is that not something that's a priority?
Well, these matters are of concern, obviously, but we concentrated on the 4 areas which were highlighted in the invitation to the meeting, and I was very conscious that the statements that I had limited time. If I was to open out all those areas, it would be an extremely long opening statement, but there are, both I and the deputies with me are very experienced in all of these, so we're happy to take any particular questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. So the Policing Authority found...
I mean, Drew Harris and the leaders, you know, the Commissioner and all these different Gardaí leaders, they didn't even know that IPAS centres were recruiting Gardaí. They didn't even know what was happening on the lower levels of actual recruitment. I mean, they could be recruiting ISIS. They could be recruiting literal terrorist guys. They don't know who the hell they're recruiting. Like, how would they know what far-right intimidation is? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Gardaí had no structured intelligence system to anticipate far-right protests outside Dublin. Officers were relying on ad hoc social media monitoring. How is that allowed to continue into 23, 24? And to be honest, it looks like it's still continuing today.
So Gary Gannon doesn't want people to be able to speak their mind on social media. These people literally hate you. They hate your freedoms. They want us all to be like eating like, locust mulch, from the government, that they come to your house and they give you a plain white box of like, bugs to eat. They want us flipping not driving cars. It's just, they literally hate us because they want a Marxist society where there's no religion, no Christ is king, no none of this, no sort of cultural love for your family, your brothers and sisters and your parents and your wife and your kids. They hate that, guys. They literally hate that. I mean, I think that it's just what they try and push is just disgusting in my political opinion. And in my honest opinion as well, I think that they literally hate Ireland. Irish people died, like literally people died for the freedoms that we have today, guys. That's why the freedoms always come first.
Thanks for the question, Deputy. So we have made considerable advances around our online activity and the groups that you talk about. I suppose our particular group that we are interested in targeting is people who are involved in violent political extremism.
Oh, okay, good. You know, because I'm not involved in violent political extremism. I would call anybody to not be violent. I mean, violence is like almost like the dumbest thing because it doesn't change anyone's opinion, and it also just makes it worse. Okay, you know, we can vote in people that are more conservative, that are more on the right. You know, you can just vote these people in, guys. Honestly,
whatever form that takes. And we have put considerable investment around ICT to help us around online activity. So we do that in two different ways. So I know we'll obviously talk about the operating model later, but one of the things we've done is we've uplifted the abilities of our regional people to do that. So if there's a protest, for example, in Cork or Galway or wherever that is, we've given them the technology and training to look at that activity ahead of what we anticipate might be problematic areas. And then obviously centrally, we've got our Garda National Security Intelligence section, and they will do, I suppose, on a you know, regional, national, obviously around groups that we're more interested in that are working on that national level, and even some of those would have international contacts. So.
Somebody get this guy a coffee. I'm falling asleep over here listening to him speak. Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, he's speaking good there. He's saying that we have these people monitoring, you know, terror threats and stuff. I hope they do, because the terror threats are coming from the left. 80% of them are, Interpol have said in the last 10 years, coming from the left. So hopefully they're monitoring these terror threats that these crazy, loony, woke left, Marxist, communist extremists are doing.
Absolutely. And to your specific question, the far right, of course it's a huge concern to us. Absolutely a huge concern to us. It's, I mean, we have dedicated officers in the Special Detective Unit, our counter-terrorism operational unit, and that's all they do.
Okay.
That's all they do.
Damn,
Does
that's
still appear to be a reluctant.
I mean, that's good, guys. You know, you kind of want, you know, the police get such a hard time, the guards get such a hard time, because like the regular Gardaí like hit people and they like, hurt them and pepper spray kids and pepper spray, you know, old ladies and stuff, you know, like in those protests about the iPass centers. But apart from that, you know, hopefully they're monitoring these left-wing loonies, guys, because you know, a lot of these left-wing people are very violent. They're very emotional. If you're emotional, you're a very violent person. You know, if you can handle your emotions, if you work out, if you eat well, you're in fit, you're in shape, you know, you got a six-pack, you've got your head screwed on, you're not going to be a violent person whatsoever, you know, at all.
When someone frontline Gardaí to intervene earlier, avoiding protest, they seem to be fearing escalation or disciplinary fallout. The Gardaí have the tools and the training to act assertively without waiting for reinforcements or being left to fail. And can you give us an example of where those failures in 2023 that you can point to something that's been rectified and proven to have been done differently in the last couple of months in terms of protests that we've been seeing, be that in Coolock, Clare or elsewhere?
If I was the Gardaí, I'd say, shut the fuck up, Gary Gannon. I'm not answering any questions from your bitch ass. None at all. Who the hell are you?
Well, any public order situation that we're involved in is obviously subject to debrief for learning, and I would point then to the training we have for public order members, but also then the uplift in equipment, particularly following the riots of 23rd of November 2023. We have purchased two water cannon. We've increased the strength of the incapacitating spray, particularly the canister incapacitating spray that is issued to public order members.
They've increased the strength of the pepper spray. Now, not only will you not be able to breathe, and your eyes will be watering. Your eyes will literally be burned out of your skull if you protest.
We've introduced command training for those members who will chief superintendent rank, and that's the cascade down then through the organisation to superintendents. Inspectors are already trained as public order unit commanders. So there's been a huge emphasis then on training around public order, but also then around intervention as well. One of the things that's very fortunate for us is that the proof of concept for body-worn camera is partly based in North and South Central, and so that many of this protest activity is being caught evidentially on the body-worn camera.
Good, and I hope the body-worn camera is put on YouTube for us to all see, or in some public platform. But I don't think they do that. I think they keep it to themselves, which I think any sort of video or in public should be put on the internet, you know.
And that has helped, one, to diffuse situations, but also two, to bring prosecutions as well.
Yeah, Mr. I'm conscious that there were arrests and subsequently sentences on the 23rd of November 2023, but they seem to be at the lower end of the scale. Do we see people who absolutely engage in the violence, but the people who instigated the violence through online platforms and large social media platforms, some of them now public figures, still seem to have got away scot-free? Is that something you're monitoring for the future?
Oh my god, this guy's a little weasel. Are you gonna be monitoring people? Please keep me safe. I can't. I'm scared about the threats. Nothing happened. The riots were just conducted by people that were just pissed off and just like kids and like 18 to 25-year-olds and like just going crazy, and they were just opportunists. They were just, you know, people opportunists for, you know, that were trying to steal from Foot Locker and shit, you know. Everybody knows that. It wasn't like to hurt anybody in particular, guys. It was just robberies and crazy shit like that, you know. And it's just, you know, it's not the biggest threats. The biggest threats are hopefully, yeah, 100% hopefully the monitoring from the left, guys. 70-80% of those crazy attacks overseas and abroad are from that.
To the people who are intimidating these, to people who are instigating these protests.
If I might say, there's been an extensive investigation in respect of those events and other serious public order events, and obviously part of that then is to follow through on social media posts and social media posting, and to get, and that's another means of obtaining evidence as well. But it is always an investigative strand to follow through on those individuals who may have committed offences which amount to an incitement type offence.
I mean, yeah, obviously if you're inciting riots, guys, that's not good. Like, and it is a crime, guys. You can't violently threaten people on the internet. You can't violently threaten the government, or, you know, that's not a good way to do it, guys. In my personal opinion, you will go to jail for that. But you can definitely critique different people and say what I think is wrong, what I think is right. Absolutely, right? But there is like a fine line there. So yeah, I mean, if you're going around saying crazy shit, you know, threatening violence, do this, that's not, you know, that's really bad, like, obviously.
Some outcome from that in the future. Yes, I want to turn to drug-related intimidation.
Oh god, is this guy still talking? Okay, we're gonna leave it right there because I can't take too much more of Gary Gannon's bullshit. Okay, like, comment, subscribe, everybody. Let me know in the comments down below what you want to see next, reacting to on YouTube. Of course, if you want to help support me, hit the join link underneath the video. Okay, become a member for just the price of €5 per day. Okay, the price of a coffee, sorry, per month, €5 per month, not per day. That would be crazy. Yeah, you can support me, help push back against the mainstream media. I love you all. Stay free, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next one, lads. Peace.